As he joins me every Wednesday, he's here again tonight, Kel Richards. This one's one from me, Kel. I use it often, and I used it yesterday, and someone said, "What the heck does that mean?" I said, "I actually don't really know, but my mother used to say it, and I use it all the time." I'll say, "Gosh, you look like the wreck of the Hesperus. Help me out."
Okay, what it means is very disorderly or very untidy. You know, you could say, oh, this office looks like the wreck of the Hesperus when it's a mess and there are bits of paper everywhere. It comes from a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow published in 1842 called The Wreck of the Hesperus. Now, the poem itself is very popular, telling a very sad story about a real shipwreck in the blizzard of 1839, and it was hugely popular in America. But over time, over about 50 years, people forgot about the sad, grim story the poem told and only remembered the title. So the wreck of the Hesperus became a neat little phrase to say what a wreck this is. First recorded in a newspaper in 1897, so a bit over 50 years after the poem was originally published. It had entered the colloquial language as a way of saying, what a wreck.
Well, I must say I use it in context, but now I know what the origins are. Thank you very much. Hey, John wants to know, where does the term back to square one come from? And he says, what does it mean?
It means going back to the beginning, going right back to the start. There are two stories. One is a myth and the other is the truth. The myth is it goes back to 1927 when the BBC began radio broadcasts of football games, and they were terrified that listeners wouldn't understand what was going on. So they published little maps of the field dividing the paddock into 8 squares, and their callers used that. It was a rubbish system. It never really caught on, and they got rid of it after a couple of years. But people keep saying that's where it comes from. It does not, because that was 1927. The expression's not recorded till 1952, and it actually comes from the children's board game Snakes and Ladders. That's where you get back to square one.
Aha. Tony says, my granddaughters want to know, where's the phrase mum's the word come from?
Very old. Back in the 1500s, to mum meant to speak with your lips closed and to speak very unclearly. We get our word mumble from that. And actors and acrobats who performed in pantomime without speaking were called mummers. So it's from that sort of source, from the 1500s, that we get this idea of mum's the word, keep your lips sealed.
And it's not from the mums we love. There you go, Kel. Teach me something every time. See you next week.